After completing part 3 of the fast food spreadsheet, you should have 4 to 5 questions that can be answered by graphing your data or looking at your data that you collected back on part 2. Your questions should directly have to do with the nutritional information that you collected. Otherwise, they obviously can't be answered. So switching back to now my part 2 spreadsheet, I'm ready to answer those 5 questions. And I'm going to do that via a chart. Now, if you find that there is no chart that will answer your question is probably bad, and you're going to want to adjust it. So for this example here, I have compared fat, sodium, and calories for 3 different fast food restaurants: Wendy's, Chipotle, and White Castle. For example, let's say that I have a question that asks something like, I am only going to eat the entree at a restaurant, and I'm trying to cut back on fat. Which one of these 3 restaurants would be the best? Now, in that question, I am asking about fat, which I know it can be answered, and I'm also asking about one particular part of this meal, which is the entree. So for Wendy's, it's the junior hamburger; Chipotle, it's the burrito; and White Castle, it's the sandwich. I'm going to first start out by very carefully selecting my data. Now, when you select on Google Sheets, it is very, very temperamental about where you select, what direction you select, and when you click. So the best tip I can give you here is to first click on your very first data label, which is the word identifying what this number is. If the next thing you're about to select is right next to it, or the actual data, for this one it happens to be fat, you can click and drag to select both, making sure that you click right in the middle. You should have an arrow icon. You don't want to have a hand icon for your mouse, otherwise you're going to move it around. You don't want to have the X icon, otherwise you're going to accidentally fill. You want to have the white arrow icon when you click and drag. So I've very carefully clicked on the far left and dragged to the right. And now I know it sounds very specific, but it does matter. When I'm ready to select my next piece of data, because it's all the way down here, I'm going to have to hold down my control key, and that is so that it does not unselect the thing I just selected. So I'm going to click again, starting on the word and dragging to the right for fat, and then I'm going to go ahead again, holding down control still, click on sandwich and drag to the right for that. Now I've selected from left to right, starting at the top left all the way down. When I'm ready to insert my chart, I'm going to go ahead and go to Insert, Chart. It's going to pull that data. Now this looks good, but it's really comparing a burrito, a sandwich, and the Wendy's junior hamburger. It's kind of missing. It's not labeled. That's because we need to now go in here and make some adjustments. Your first adjustment I would do for this particular question would be to switch to a column chart. Those are a little bit easier to read for most people. And then secondly, I'm going to go up here to Combine Ranges, and I'm going to switch it from horizontal to vertical. And you'll see what happens is it is now saying that junior hamburger, burrito, and sandwich are the 3 separate pieces of data, whereas the other direction, horizontal, it was kind of leaving the one out. And that all has to do with how you set up your data. So again, I went down, select on column, changed my range to vertical. Now I'm ready to go in here and change some of my labels. Right now it just says chart title. I don't have any idea what these numbers mean or any of these. So that is under customization. And the first thing I'm going to do is change my chart title, and I'm going to go ahead and change that to say main entree and I'm going to scroll down and look for something called an axis. There we go. So this is now the axes. I have 2 axes, the horizontal, which will add a title at the bottom of my chart, and left vertical. The horizontal axis is main entree, so I'm going to go ahead and add that in. And then I'm going to go ahead and switch to my left vertical and talk about what these numbers are. And if I look at my data, I happen to know those are fat grams, so I'm just going to type that in. And it should appear over here on the left as I kind of click out of there. And now this is fully set, and I'm ready to click Insert. It'll just kind of throw it into your chart or into your graph, and you'll need to drag it over here to the right so it's not covering up your data. You could even move it up to the top. So now this, for this particular example, would happen to answer that first question of mine of which restaurant should I go to if I'm trying to avoid fat grams and I'm only eating a main entree. According to this one, it would be White Castle, the sandwich. Now, the only small subtle change I would make on this one, I would maybe change the word sandwich to specifically what sandwich it is. Another way that you may compare data is you want to know, for example, let's say your question says, I'm going to Wendy's, I'm going to order a junior hamburger, a large fry, and a large soft drink. What percentage of my total calories is each of these items? Okay, so that says I'm comparing calories. I'm comparing these 3 items, but only at Wendy's. So again, that's where I need to now decide how am I going to select data. I could click on junior hamburger and select down, and then on calories and select down, and you can see if that works. If that doesn't work, you could click on junior hamburger, click over here, and I'm holding down the Alt key, and notice I'm not clicking all over the place. I'm going left to right, all the way down. Now, for this particular type of chart, I happen to know that I need to click at the top and drag down, and then hit Control and click at the top of calories, because that's what I was asking about, and drag down again while I'm holding the Control key. And now I've selected these. If I go to Insert Chart, once again, whenever you're comparing percentages, a pie chart is usually your best bet for that one. I click on the pie chart. It's a good sign that I am able to even select it. And over here on my right side, I am already getting a pretty good preview of what it should look like. Again, want to go in here, change my chart title. This will be Wendy's Meal Calorie Comparison or something along those lines. And then I can also kind of go down here and decide some other things that I may or may not want to go ahead and change. As you're going through, you're going to want to go ahead and insert this. And again, if this answers question number 2, go ahead and drag it down within your spreadsheet. And this one answers question 2, so I'm going to put it as a second one. If you need to kind of put a label over here on the right or the left side to help you keep track, that's fine. My biggest recommendation is as you're going through these, if you find yourself clicking and dragging and selecting things and your graph is not working the way you think, make sure that you are starting with your upper leftmost pieces of data, dragging to the right, holding down Control, dragging to the right, dragging to the right. If you mess it up, just unselect everything and reselect. Good luck.